Goldberg comes back. He looked very good.
Yeah.
Thought he looked very good. And a lot of people online, I made a couple of comments during the show. I try to engage, but it's very hard with wrestling Twitter. It's very, very hard.
I gave that up a long time ago, Coach.
So true.
Yeah.
And this guy says, are we supposed to believe, Coach, that we're supposed to forget when Gunther messed with Goldberg's son? That's why he deserves a World Heavyweight Championship shot. Makes no sense. And I saw Dave LaGreca on Busted Open lose his mind. And for Goldberg to come back, Vince, at 58 years old, and to get a World Heavyweight title match tells me one of two things. We know he's not going to win because he's 58, or if he is, that absolutely destroys Gunther and being the World Heavyweight Champion for 3 weeks or 4 weeks at a time. Either way, making it for the title, to me, is a huge mistake. But I would love to know, if you were writing for this scenario, what would you do?
Well, Coach, here's the first thing they did. And I'm like, guys, you really need to start paying attention. Goldberg is in the ring with Gunther. And Coach, Goldberg says to Gunther, do you think I forgot what happened in Atlanta? Coach, I don't know what he's talking about. I did not see that because I think that was on a PLE. That was not on a Raw or SmackDown. I never saw it. So right off the bat, you're revisiting an angle. They have to play the footage, Coach. They have to have Goldberg say, did you forget this? Now I'm like, oh, okay. But for him to say it in passing, I just, the details that this company is missing is not only blowing me away, it's hurting the product. Because if you want to use that to set up this match, Coach, you've got to show me. This happened months and months ago, and I may have never, ever seen it. Coach, I got to tell you, I'm hearing this a lot through the grapevine, and I don't put anything past them anymore. I'm 1,000% with you. If Goldberg beats Gunther, okay, bro, so now we've had Sammy beat Gunther, we've had Jay beat Gunther, we've had everybody's beaten Gunther now. You will absolutely kill the dude. But, Coach, I'm hearing that, Triple H wanted this match to be for the title. We hear about this being Goldberg's last match. Goldberg is going to accept this being his last match with him just doing a job? I don't know. What I am hearing is there's talk that Goldberg's going over and Seth is cashing in the case. This is what I've heard. So that kind of protects Goldberg, that he wins last match, but he gets screwed out of the case. So it kind of leaves him leaving on a high note. Goldberg's made such a big deal about the last match, and he was promised the last match. I find it hard to believe that Goldberg is going to want to go out in a last match and lose to a guy that Sami Zayn beat and Jey Uso beat, but Goldberg can't beat. I don't know, Coach, but that's the thing. I don't put anything past the booking anymore. I really don't.
The guys are who they are. And Goldberg, I've always loved him. I've always gotten along with him, but there's a difference between me getting along with Goldberg and the Goldberg that always did business. We're talking about a guy that went from $0 to $3 million a year in 12 months. He walked in every 3 months. I mean, that takes some cojones to walk in and ask Eric Bischoff to double your salary every 3 months. But that's who Goldberg was. Goldberg was the guy who set out so he could collect every last dime of the $6 million he was owed when WCW was engulfed by WWE. That's who he is. And if you talk to him, and you'll realize, man, this is a really good dude. But business-wise, he wants every last dollar, and he truly believes that he's one of the toughest dudes of all time. And he had one of the greatest gimmicks. Go out there, wrestle for 22 seconds, slam a guy, and win 160-some matches in a row. Awesome. But that was 25 years ago. And so, Vince, I also agree with you. His ego, and maybe mine would be this way too. is if this is going to be the last time I'm going to step in the ring, either A, I'm not going to get squashed by Gunther. I'm not going to pin, but then what do I do? To me, the whole thing is a mistake. If you're going to have a retirement match, you got to have it against somebody you can go over on that's not going to hurt them or somebody say that's ridiculous. I don't know who that would be, though.
Yeah, Coach, I agree with that. Coach, I just have to tell you a funny story because, again,
Please.
You talk about believing that. Now, listen, I will say this about Goldberg. When I work with Goldberg, I mean, Coach, I'm going back 25 years. So this is when the guy's in his prime, and, you know, it's 25 years later. But, Coach, you talk about ego. I needed Goldberg to do a job to Scott Steiner, okay, for the title. Goldberg refused to do it. So I said, Bill, like, why? He looked at me and said, if this were a shoot, I would kick Scott Steiner's ass. And Coach, I looked at him and I said, Bill, I'll tell you what, Scott Steiner is standing right over there. You go tell that to Scott Steiner and see what Scott Steiner tells you. So, yeah, see, I mean, Coach, I'm assuming 25 years later he doesn't have that ego. But, Coach, this all goes back to, we both said it. Gunther should have never lost to Sami Zayn. Gunther should have never lost to Jey Uso. So now Gunther's going into this match with all this baggage. And if you misbook him again, the dude's going to be dead in the water.
I've heard some people talk about the scenario that you're talking about, Goldberg calling for footage. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. Right now, there's no, with all due respect to, what's the GM's name? Adam Pearce.
Adam Pearce.